no matter how bad it stinking looks, baby. This team, these boys, they are never out of the ball game. Let's talk about it.
You don't want none! You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, baby, we're going to talk about the 92-90 comeback win of our North Carolina Tar Heels over the Dayton Flyers in the first round of the Maui Invitational, bro. And just like I said in the intro, no matter how bad it looks, when you have the best backcourt in the country and you have a team with a coach that can get these kids to buy in, which they should stinking buy in the first half too, this team is never out of the game. Never out of the game. They did the same thing against number 1 Kansas. They couldn't close it out. This is a very good Dayton team. A very good Dayton team. Do not be confused with the fact that they do not have a number beside their name. This is a good Dayton team, and they punched North Carolina in the mouth repeatedly in the first half. And these kids came out in the second half, and they scored 59 points. We'll talk about that in a second, man. And we're going to talk about the heroes in this game. But this really was a game of two halves. And forgive my voice, man. Everybody that was in the live stream knows that I lost my voice even before the live stream started. So we'll see just how much I stinking got. This was a game of two halves, man. Carolina was down 51-33 in the first half. And I mean, Dayton was more physical. They were in Carolina's chest. They didn't back down. And Carolina did not respond very well. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not a big fan necessarily of talking about the refs, but there were some, in my opinion, some very questionable calls, especially against Elliot Cadeau in this basketball game, man. My man played like a football game for real. They were extremely physical with him, which I think is good for EC going down the road. He played with a lot of foul trouble, and he was huge at the end of the game, man. But that first half had a lot of Tar Heel fans, man, pissed off. And I kept trying to tell people, hey, we're not out of this. We're not out of this. We've seen them compete against Kansas and do the same thing. They just couldn't close it out. And Carolina slowly battled their way back into this basketball game, dude. And it was a beautiful thing to see. As tough as the first half was to watch, because we were talking about how the guys weren't stinking hustling. The guys weren't stinking bought in. They were getting outmanned, out-physicaled. In the second half, they actually came to fight. It's not that Dayton stopped fighting. No, Dayton was the same team that they were in the first half. But then Carolina actually stood up, back against the wall, and they punched back, bro. And they punched back hard. And for a while there, as Carolina's creeping into the game, Dayton had answers. Dayton had some answers. They were knocking down threes. Carolina would cut it to 5. Dayton would hit a 3. Carolina would battle back in, cut it to 4, 3. Dayton would hit a stinking 3, get an and 1. Dayton had answers. Carolina just punched back, bro. And they're the better team. I firmly believe that. And that's not to take anything away from Dayton. Before I forget, shout out to the Dayton Flyers and all the stinking Dayton Flyer fans that were there. You have a very good basketball team, and I was extremely impressed by the product that you put on the floor, man. Your team made my team better today. Your team made my team better today, and we are very fortunate to come out with a victory, considering how poorly we played in the first half, man. Can't say enough about the All-American R.J. Davis. 30 points, 8 for 19 shooting, 10 for 11 from the free throw line. He was absolutely clutch towards the end of the game from the charity stripe that helped preserve this Carolina victory. And then secondly behind him, double-double man. How about my man Seth Trimble, who had 27 points. 27 points. and he also had 10 rebounds. Huge game from Seth, man. He's got one of the best Euro steps in college basketball. And my man was absolutely phenomenal, especially after EC picked up that fourth foul and he had to go to the bench. RJ moved to the 1. Seth went out there to the 2. And Drake Powell came in. And let me tell you something. Drake Powell needs more burn. Drake Powell needs more burn. That kid had ice in his stinking veins. He was 2 for 2 from the three-point line, and they were big corner threes. And not only that, Drake was an absolute menace on the defensive end of the floor. He didn't have like a huge stat game, but when you watch that game in those last couple of minutes in that second half, he was absolutely pivotal in Carolina being able to continue their stinking run, man. Drake played awesome. I really want to see that kid get more burn because he just got ice in his veins, bro. He's a really good stinking player, man. Jay Wash, we were giving him a hard time because I'm telling you, there were a couple of instances, man, where I felt like he didn't hustle, but he finished strong. He finished very strong, and he made some really big buckets for this team. Jay Wash, baby, you got to stink and put this together for a whole basketball game, though. Jay Wash finished with 9 points and 5 boards. But I just can't say enough about Carolina's ability in this game to overcome the adversity. Like I said, I thought that there was some real questionable calls, especially against Elliot Cadeau in this game. And when Elliot had to sit out, man, the fact that Carolina was able to really start that comeback with EC on the bench was huge. It was absolutely stinking huge. EC finishes with 10 points. He had 6 first half turnovers, 0 turnovers in the second half. And I think he finished the second half with 3 assists because he finished with 5 total, if I'm not mistaken. So just really impressed with this Carolina team and them coming back, man. Carolina ended up shooting 51.9% from the floor, 39.1% from 3, and they shot 79.4% from the free throw line. Surprisingly enough, Carolina out-rebounded Dayton 37-35. Now, one of the things that Carolina's got to clean up, and they kind of really did clean this up in the second half, Dayton had 21 points off of 15 total UNC turnovers. And I think Carolina finished the first half with 12 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. Now, remember, Carolina has only been averaging 7 turnovers a game. So they played a really sloppy first half, and they cleaned it up in the second half, man. They came back from 21. And Dayton had all the stinking juice in the world, man. And I just cannot say enough about the perseverance of this team and the fight. That's all we want to see. We want to see you boys fight. And even when you're down, I know 100% now. And look, this is not like a, hey, you can do this whenever you want. I know that y'all are not out of the stinking game, bro. I know it. We've seen it 2 times already. Now we just need to stop playing that way in the first half, and we need to put, complete basketball games together because, you double that up and you got a pretty daggone convincing victory over a really good basketball team. So we'll do this a little bit differently because obviously we have time constraints. Carolina with that victory, they play Auburn tomorrow, number 4 Auburn in the second round of the Maui Invitational winners bracket. It's going to be on ESPN at 2300 hours for you military guys, 11 p.m. And this is going to be another great test for this Carolina team. They're going to have to move on. That's a great come from behind victory. Great come from behind victory. However, this is a really good Auburn team who was in a fight themselves with the number 5 Iowa State Cyclones. So they finished their game. They were down almost similar to Carolina. Auburn was down 49-33 at the half. So they had a 16-point deficit. they outscored Iowa State 50-32 to win that basketball game. So both teams had tremendous comeback victories. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can move on from those comebacks, man, how much gas they have in the tank. Now, these stats that are on ESPN right now at the time of this recording, it is 2:36 in the morning. Auburn is averaging 87.3 points per game. This is obviously before they played Iowa State, so these are not updated. And they're giving up 59.3 points per game. So a little bit more of a stingy defense that Carolina's going to stink and play against. Carolina's obviously averaging 93 points per game and 73 points given up. Both of those numbers will go up, obviously, because Dayton just scored 90 points on Carolina. Auburn's averaging 38 rebounds. Carolina's averaging 39 rebounds. And like I said, this is a really good Auburn team. They have wins so far over Vermont, 50-point win over Vermont. They have a 5-point win over Houston. They have a 23-point win over Kent State. They have like a 30-something point win over, it looks like, North Alabama. So this is a really good stinking team, man. Their leading scorer is Johnny Broome, 6'10" senior, 240 pounds from Plant City. He's averaging 20 points per game and 11.3 rebounds per game. And the dude's shooting 65.5% from the field. So going to be a really tough assignment down low for Jay Wash and Vin Allen Lubin. He's also their leading rebounder, obviously. And their leading assist guy is going to be the 6'4", 205-pound guard Denver Jones, who is averaging 11.3 points per game and 4 assists. He's also shooting 56.5% from the floor. So RJ Davis, 17.8 points per game, leading scorer. Jay Witt may or may not still be the leading rebounder at the end of this one. And EC is going to remain the leading assist guy. He'll probably be somewhere around 6.4, 6.5 assists per game. So really excited about this opportunity, man. We're not in the losers bracket. That's a great thing. Another opportunity for Carolina to play a top 5 team and, continue to build off of what they just experienced against a really good Dayton team, man. So look, dude, if you missed that, if you left early, hey, make sure you never stink and leave early again. Don't count these boys out, man. That was an impressive come-from-behind victory, and everything was stacked against them. Yes, including some of the questionable calls, man. And they showed a lot of resiliency, and they fought back in this game. They fought back in that game, and they got a really good victory against a really good Dayton Flyers team. 11 o'clock tomorrow, man, 2300 hours. We will be live for Auburn and North Carolina, and we're going to see if the Hills can duplicate what they just pulled off. Hopefully they don't have to duplicate it. Hopefully Carolina just comes out and handles stinking business. And hopefully we've seen my man RJ come out of his slump. I think we may have seen RJ come out of his slump, bro. And that bodes well for the mighty Tar Heels as the season progresses. So Carolina moves to 4-1. Auburn's still undefeated. Another opportunity to hand a team their first loss of the season. So you let me know what you think about that daggone Carolina comeback victory against the Dayton Flyers in the first round of the Maui Invitational down in the comment section. Tar Heel and even Dayton Flyer Nation, man. Hey, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I can already not wait until 11 o'clock tomorrow to see if Carolina can capitalize on this big victory. I'll get some cough drops or something, man. Love you, Tar Heel Nation, and we'll see you on the next one, baby.